Lesson number 83 is about rate problems as proportion problems. And in this lesson we only have this one example, but we'll have to solve it in a couple different ways. Our question says, 14 bags could be filled in 3 hours. How many hours would it take to fill 84 bags? The question says, work the problem two ways, once as a rate problem and once as a proportion problem. So let's start out with our rate problem. Remember, you don't have to write this whole thing in your notes if you don't want to. You could just write example 1 into your notes because it's more than one sentence. You could always come back to example 1 on lesson 83 if you wanted to look at it. So, 14 bags could be filled in 3 hours. How long would it take to fill 84 bags? So we're going to get 84 bags. And when we work this as a rate problem, well, rates are just fraction, so we're going to get 84 bags over 1. Because there's no denominator given. And it says 14 bags could be filled in 3 hours. So in this, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by some rate that has bags in the denominator. And that's so that we have 1 bags on top, 1 bags on bottom, 1 in the numerator, 1 in the denominator, so that they cancel each other out. We've got bags in the denominator, so we must have hours in the numerator. And it says 14 bags could be filled in 3 hours. So now we can find the answer to our problem with multiplication. But before we multiply, let's simplify. We know that 84 and 14 are both even numbers, so let's cut them in half. Half of 14 is 7. Half of 84 must be 42. Now those numbers are nice because 7 goes into 42 6 times. So if we divide both numbers by 7, we're going to get a 1 and a 6. So that makes our problem really easy to solve. We've got 6 times 3, well that's equal to 18, and we have 18 hours. 1 times 1 is 1, so we have 18 hours over 1, but we don't need to write over 1 if we don't want to, because we know that's just what the number is equal to. So we've got 18 hours as our answer. If 14 bags could be filled in 3 hours, then it would take 18 hours to fill 84 bags. That's the first part of our problem. This question said work the problem two ways. Please pause the video now if you need more time to copy this down, because we're going to erase so we can work it as the second way. Okay. The second way we're asked to do this problem is as a proportion. So if we want to do this as a proportion, we can say 14 bags can be filled in 3 hours. And a proportion is just two rates or ratios that are equal to each other. So this rate needs to be equal to another rate. It says, how many hours would it take to fill 84 bags? Well, if we have 84 bags, that needs to be in the numerator because we've got to have bags on the same side when they're equal to each other. Then we're going to have hours in the denominator, and that's what we need to figure out. How many hours would it take? So when we have a problem like this, what we need to do is cross multiply. We're going to say 3 times 84, whatever that answer is, 3 times 84, the answer to that is going to be equal to our other cross product of 14 bags times our question mark. So let's figure out what our answer is. We've got to do 3 times 84 first. 3 times 4 is 12. We'll carry our 1. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 more is 25. We got 252. So 252 is equal to 14 times our question mark. Well, if we want to figure out what our question mark is, we have to undo multiplication of 14. So we're going to divide by 14. We've got to balance out our equation by doing the same thing on both sides. So our final answer will be what we get when we say 252 divided by 14. 14 goes into 25 one time. We get 14 with 11 left over. We bring down our 2. How many times does 14 go into 112? Well, hopefully you've got the answer in your head. Hopefully you're thinking 8. And the reason you're thinking 8 might be because, well, we already did this problem a different way and got the answer of 18. But let's check it to make sure it's right. Let's see what we get when we multiply 14 times 8. 8 times 4, that's 32. We'll carry our 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. Perfect. We got 112. So we have no remainder. We've got an answer of 18, and we need a label, so we've got 18 hours. It's nice when you have a question like this, where you can work it in different ways, because you can eventually pick which way is better for you, and you'll get the same answer regardless. And the important part is that we're working through the problem accurately. Lesson practice will be on page 261. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.